especially to this certified leadership training. My name is Abraham Elila. In this particular course, we'll be discussing enhancing leadership, both church and corporate organization. So this training is going to be useful for pastors, for general overseers, and for leaders of various church organizations at whatever level they are. And this course is also going to be very useful for leaders of organizations, businesses, business owners, and those who are leading in one capacity or the other. So follow me closely as we look at some very, very vital subjects in this course. Welcome to the leadership class. First, let's talk about the agenda of this training. We are going to be looking at leadership foundation. The training is divided into three parts. First is the leadership foundation. The second one is practical leadership development. The third one is the actionable steps towards leadership development. For the first part, we'll be breaking leadership foundation down by looking at introduction to leadership, defining what leadership is, and then we will look at what are the characteristics of leadership. What are the things that characterize good leader? And then we will take it further by looking at the call to leadership with a special focus on spiritual leadership. You are called as a leader to serve as a leader, even in the church or whichever organization that you find yourself. So leadership is a calling. And then we will take it further to look at other things. So let's move on as we break this course down into details. All right, now let's start by looking at leadership foundation, the foundation for leadership. And then, of course, in discussing leadership foundation, it's important that we understand what leadership is. And then, of course, we will introduce this subject of leadership, the leadership in ministry. So leadership is at its core the ability to influence and guide others towards a shared goal. The key thing here is the shared goal. Every leader has a goal. So whether you are a church leader or you are a business leader or you are a leader over a corporate organization, there is a common goal that brings people together. And then, of course, your assignment is to lead people towards achieving this shared goal. So there is a common interest. There is a common goal that brings people together. So the work of the leader is to make sure that he influences these people towards achieving this common goal. So effective leaders possess qualities such as integrity, vision, and empathy. So if you must drive people towards achieving a common goal, the people are looking at you. Do you have the character? Do you have the personality? Have you been able to show enough character traits that will show that yes, you can lead these people? Because every leader needs to be trusted. Okay, for you to lead people effectively, trust is key. So if people are following you as a leader and they can't trust you, then there's a problem. So the integrity is very important. And then the leader must have vision. Okay, you can't drive people towards a common goal without showing a big picture. And then empathy, because people that will follow you have different things about themselves, have personality, interest, situations, and all those things. So empathy is very key. So for those in ministry, leadership takes on a spiritual dimension. For a pastor, for a minister of the gospel, for a general overseer, leadership is all about serving others. Okay? So if you must be a great leader in ministry, then you must understand that you are there to serve, that you are not there to rule. You are not a ruler, you are not a controller, you are not a boss. You are there to serve because you have been called into ministry to serve. Okay? And then, apart from serving, you also want to model Christ-like behavior. And this is a very big thing. For every corporate organization, we have what we call corporate culture. We have what we call corporate culture, where every person within that organization have a belief system. The organization has what controls how people behave and what people do within the corporate culture. So if a person is appointed as a leader to lead in a corporate organization, this person wants to drive the corporate culture and ensure that people keep to them. Then as a spiritual leader, as a pastor, your corporate culture will be the Christ-like behavior. So you can't be a leader. So that's why we have a lot of abuse in the ministry today, where we have someone who is supposed to model Christ-like behavior, but showing a different character, and thus people losing trust in leadership or in that person's leadership. So a leader, a spiritual leader, is there to model Christ-like behavior, and then of course stewarding the gifts and responsibilities entrusted to him as a leader. That is very, very important. That's very important, and it's key for leaders to understand that, look, you can't go into church leadership, spiritual leadership, without understanding that, look, this is not a corporate thing, this is a spiritual thing. So if there is anything that you must keep, is to ensure that you keep the Christ-like behavior, show integrity, show Christ-like behavior, and be responsible to people and even to God who call you. Wow, great. We are moving on. Now we're going to move from this dimension to now look at defining leadership. We need to understand what it really means to be a leader. To come into great leadership, a leader needs to understand, what am I here to do? What is my responsibility? So for every subject matter we get into, defining that subject is very important, because if you don't know who you are and what you are here to do, then doing that thing becomes very difficult. So follow me back into the class as we look at defining leadership. Okay, so the next thing that we are going to be talking about is defining leadership. We need to define leadership. So leadership is not about title. It is about influence. Okay? So coming into leadership is very important that we understand that we are not here to carry title. It is your responsibility to influence people, not title-based responsibilities. So if you are looking for title, then be a manager, be a ruler, all those titles where people will become whatever they are, and then they say, I have now achieved the height of my goal, and I will show people. So you are not to show people, you are not to intimidate or do anything to hurt anybody. Leadership is influence. So, and then of course, as part of your influence, you also want to impact people positively. Leadership in ministry is not merely a position, but is a calling. Okay? Leadership in ministry is a calling. So if you are ever called a leader in the things of God, understand that you are in a service. Okay? Every person called into ministry work is a servant. Just like the corporate ministry, where we have ministries and where we have civil servants. So the people within the corporate ministries know or the agencies, the government agencies and all those stuff, know that every person within that space is a civil servant. In other words, you are called to serve. Now, in the church ministry, the church assignment or ministry assignment, you are called by God. You have a primary responsibility to fulfill one assignment, and that is what God has told you to do. And so it's not a position, and you need to understand that, and I need to emphasize that it's not a position, because many people miss this aspect. It is not a position, it is a calling. Okay, you will be placed on a position, but that doesn't mean that you are there to utilize your authority over people's life and trample upon them. No, you are there to serve people. You are there to do the particular thing that God has given to you to do. Now, let's talk about the characteristics of um, effective leader. So, when we talk about effective leadership, there are things that characterizes um, what who a leader is and what defines a person as an effective leader. The first one, of course, is vision. Vision. Every leader must have a vision. Vision is seen as a bigger picture. Now, within your organization, within your church, you are the only one that knows what the organization should be, where the organization is going to, what you will do to get to where you are going to. You, as the leader, is the one that has the bigger picture. That's what is called bigger picture. So whatever it is that the assignment of that church or that organization is, it lies in you. You have, so that's why when you sit down, your responsibility is not about, oh, how are we going to fix the microphone? Oh, how now I'm talking about church now. How are the choir going to stay? How is this? How is that? Or maybe in the corporate organization, you are bothered about, oh, how is the receptionist going to come in and sit? How are the managers going to do that? No. You think about bigger picture, the vision of the organization, and in explaining the vision, you have team, you have people within the organization that will work with you towards the achievement of that bigger picture. And so it is your responsibility to inspire them towards that shared future. Okay, that is what makes you a visionary leader. When you go to any organization and you observe that this is missing, then you know there's a problem. Because how do you explain an organization without a vision? How do you explain a leader that is running an organization and then you ask the people or one of the members or one of the person in the organization, what's the vision of this organization? Vision, we are just here to work, finish our work and close and go home. Or we're just here to come to church, do service, sing and dance and go. That's a big problem. That's a very big problem. So because that means that the leader, it's either the leader is not communicating that vision or he doesn't even have that vision in the first instance. Then the second thing that characterizes effective leadership is adaptability. A leader must be adaptable, must be able to embrace change and innovate to meet new challenges. We have a lot of people whose reason for not growing is because they have not been able to adapt to changes around. And you can't be a good leader if you are not dynamic in nature, if you are not adaptable, if you don't know how to switch from one role to another role, to switch from one generation into another generation, to cope with changes, constant changes that are happening around you. I mean, in my profession, one of the things that I've always done year in, year out is to see what is happening to see changes around you and plan towards these changes. And that's why it doesn't come by surprise. To me, it's always like I'm ready. Let me share an example. Some years back, what used to be our approach to training in our organization was physical training. We invite people, they come to our office, we train them, or they come to our venue, we train them, and then they go, or they invite us to their organization and we train them. But as time went by, I saw the need to adapt to the changes that was happening. We're seeing decline in attendance of participants in most of our training, and things were changing. Then I started a project. I started creating um, um, digital contents. I started doing things. I created a website and I started having digital contents, and it was a very serious work. I worked in and out, night and day, midnight, creating content. And before we knew what was happening, COVID swept in, and people were talking about virtual, but we were already there. Many of us were already there. We're using technology that was not very popular at that time. It wasn't popular. For instance, Zoom was not popular, but it was existing. We had remote desktop connectivity, and we're using it to do remote meetings and all those stuff. And then when the wind of change came, it was easy for us to migrate. And so business was like nothing changed. So we started, and then most of the content that were created were now uploaded into international platforms where people were now buying the courses, online. And that put us in that. So a leader must embrace change and must be innovative. You must be able to meet new challenges. You must know that things are changing and you must be ready for that change. Okay? You must be ready for that change. And so time goes by the time we're closing 2024, I was already looking at what is going to change in 2025. What are things that the business must begin to adapt into? What are the things that the ministry must begin to look at, and what's the direction that it should begin to go? So all these things were things that were put in mind, looking at business, looking at ministry, looking at family, looking at every other aspect of one's life. So you must be adaptable to change. The other thing is you must be humble. As a leader, a leader must prioritize the needs of others and learn from feedback. So if you don't get feedback, there's no way you can innovate or embrace change. That's one of the things that I always tell people. If you prioritize the needs of people, you are open up to feedback. You see people coming to you telling you, look, Pastor, things are changing. Pastor, let's have a YouTube channel. Pastor, let's have a Facebook page. Let's have an Instagram stuff. And you are saying, no, we are physical prayer church. We can't just be doing all those Instagram things. People will now go and be sitting down and they'll say they are attending. No, you as a leader must understand that things are changing. While you maintain your status quo, you also need to open up to changes. And then a leader must be courageous. Very, very important. Leader take bold steps and make difficult decisions, even with conviction. So changes come with serious decision. Okay, so if you are going to make changes in life, then it comes with very serious responsibility to make decision. So if you are a leader that's not courageous, you'll be afraid of what's going to happen. What will people say? How will they think? What will they say is going to happen? And all these factors will disturb your decision making process. So you need courage. You need to be convinced also. So when you are making difficult decisions, be convinced, be led by the Spirit of God as a pastor, especially when it comes to church thing. Even as a Christian business person or as a religious person who is doing business, if you don't believe in God, then you have a lot of struggle in life. You must be convinced, you must be guided, you must have this personal conviction that what you are doing, the step you are taking is taking you to the right direction. I've made very difficult decisions in life, and I know and I'm courageous that I'm convinced that God is leading. Sometimes it takes me 2 years, 3 years before I will even make take step in that decision. But definitely, once I take that step, I know that I'm properly guided. Okay, so as a leader, you have courageous. Then the last one, here, the last one, we have quite a lot. I'm just limiting it to these key five um, features or characteristics of an effective leader. And that is servant-hearted. They lead by serving. The leader lead by serving. They foster trust, and then of course, collaboration. So if you don't have a servant heart, if you don't understand that what you are there to do is to serve, then you will not be able to foster trust or collaboration, because people will look at you as a ruler and they will leave you to your thing. Okay, so you need to let people know that you are there to serve them. Okay, so I may just quickly add one by just saying the leader communicates, and it's very important. So for every good leader, communication is very important. Although I'm still going to talk about communication in other aspects of this training, I just want to quickly chip that in, just to let us understand that communication is also key. Because if you have a vision and you don't know how to communicate that vision, or to even communicate the change with your people, then there's going to be a problem in having common understanding between you and your people. Okay, so now the third thing that we want to look at is call to leadership. So we understand, and like we said, that leadership is a call. Okay, and that we must understand. Leadership is a call. So the leader, to fulfill his call, must have a shepherd heart, must be a person that is filled with compassion. Okay, that's whether you are in a corporate organization or you are a spiritual leader. Compassion is very important because you are leading people, you are guiding people, and then you must inspire through example. Must be a person that can inspire through example, and then you must guide with wisdom. So leadership in ministry, particularly, is not merely a position, but it's a calling. So it begins with deep conviction that God has chosen you to shepherd his people, to inspire them to grow in faith and guide them towards living out purpose. So we've said this a lot, and of course we can't overemphasize it. You as a leader needs to understand that whatever it is that you are doing is a calling. So even if it is a corporate organization, it's still a call. So if you don't see God in everything you are doing, then you are missing a very vital or important thing about life and existence. So your leadership responsibility is a call. All right. The next topic that we will be considering is the 21st century leadership landscape. Now, in this particular session, we'll be discussing the societal changes and the expectation, the increasing expectation that these societal changes are having on leadership, the demand on leaders to adapt to societal changes. Every leader must understand that things are changing very fast. And if you don't bring up your leadership level or capacity to accommodate these speedy changes that is happening in the society, of course, you are going to be left behind. We have social media, we have so many technological changes, and we have so many societal demands around us. So join me back in the class as we expand and discuss this subject matter on the 21st century landscape of leadership. All right, welcome back to the class. Now, we're going to be discussing the 21st century landscape of leadership. Every leader needs to understand that the world is changing. and that things are changing rapidly. And as you as a leader must not be left behind in the changes, in the current change that is happening, because it's rapid. Imagine some years back, what we used to have, things that we used to do, compare with what is happening now, you will see that there's a great gap. In fact, there was a time when there was introduction of the social media, and it was blowing the mind of everybody, and we're like, oh wow, social media, Facebook, everybody was doing Facebook. Before we knew what was happening, the WhatsApp came in. We have Instagram now. We have the X, which is the Twitter, and now called X. And then we have LinkedIn for business profile. You as a business person needs to have a LinkedIn profile. It's very important. And then we have quite a lot of we have TikTok now, and a lot of things happening in the social media. Then there came a time when we started having bots, the bots, and then bots were doing things, automating processes, and voila, we now have artificial intelligence, and almost everything we do now, all our applications, everything we do from picture to video to audio to everything around is now attached to artificial intelligence. And so you as a leader must understand that things are changing rapidly and you must be ready to adapt. Okay, we discussed about one of the characteristics of a leader. We said is adaptability. That if you are going to um, be a great leader, you must be adaptable. So that is coming back to you again. Things are changing. Leaders must adapt to the demands of a diverse and digitally connected world. The world is connected digitally. Things are changing. Challenges include cultural shift, generalization, generalizational differences, and the need for technological fluency. So everything is changing. Okay. So a leader must be aware. They you can't afford to be a leader that is left behind. You can't afford to be giving explanation. It is because I don't know this, it's because I don't know that. Then how do you lead people if you are not aware? So things are changing drastically, and every leader must adapt to the demands of these rapid changes. Okay, now church leaders must um, focus on the following area, and it's very important. The first one is the modern challenges, the secularization. The church is becoming worldly. There are quite a lot of societal changes. We have evolving expectations. Now, you see that the society is beginning to drive expectation from the church. And one way or the other, the society demands what the church should look like. And the pastor is struggling between maintaining spirituality of the church and adapting to the social changes or the social demands of the environment where he finds himself. So you as a leader need to understand how to balance this. Okay, there are evolving expectations. The young people in the church have big expectations from the church or from the pastor, from the leader. There are quite a lot. So as a leader, how do you cope with these changes? How do you factor yourself into understanding how to cope? Communication is the key. I will not just waste time on that. I'll just tell you communication is the key. As a leader, you must learn to communicate. Okay. And in terms of communication, I'm not talking about communicating your vision now. I'm talking about asking people, talking to people at all levels. Have an understanding of the expectation because the expectations are evolving. Okay. So have an understanding of the expectations from the young people, have an understanding of expectations from the youth, from the teens, from the teenagers, even from children. What are the children looking at? How do they want to be treated even when they come to the church? How would they like their environment to look like? Don't forget that some of the children in your church are, school in some environment where what they see every day, when they come to your own environment and they see something different or below that level, they are discouraged. They are telling their parents they don't want to come. So there are quite a lot of things changing around. So you must understand the expectation, the social media expectation. What are the things that is happening? So when you communicate, you ask questions. In communicating, you ask questions. You note these questions now, you discuss it, and then you act on them. Okay, and then make sure you create a balance because we have some leaders that tilts towards the left, or some that tilts towards the right. So towards the left now will probably be towards social social changes, social demand, and they will turn their church into a social gathering. While on the other side, we have those who are so spiritual, so highly spiritual, and will not accommodate anything about the social changes and the demand or evolving expectation, and they tilt towards that. And of course, they lose people and they don't know what is happening. Okay, even Jesus said, you are in the world, and I'm not going to pray the Father to take you out of the world, but that you'll be able to operate in the world. He said that to his disciples. I'm not going to pray to God to take you out. I know the world is going to show you a lot of like what I used to tell people, we show you pepper, but Jesus, just let's just paraphrase or just trying to realign the conversation in a modern way or in our own way, that the world will show you pepper. And yeah, and that I'm not going to pray for God to quickly remove you, but I'm going to pray that you are going to be able to cope. So you are not to leave, you are to blend and see how you can maintain your spirituality and uphold the the changes around to bring spirituality into them. Then the second thing that the church leader wants to focus on, of course, is opportunities. You must learn to leverage on technology for outreach, and quite a lot of technological advancement. I remember some years back, if you want to run a live program, you will have to engage a media outreach, maybe like you go and meet NTA, the Nigerian Television Authority, talking about Nigerian's environment now, or you call AIT, and then they bring their gadgets, they set it in your location, they charge you a lot, and then they transmit for you live, and then people are able to watch you on the TV from everywhere they are. But amazing, look at what is happening today. You don't have to go through that. With the technology, all you need is a Facebook account. You can go on live. YouTube account, you can go on live. Instagram account, you go and do live and transmit to wherever you want, and people will follow you. You can do Zoom live. You can do quite a lot. So leverage on technology for outreach so that you can foster the way you communicate with larger audience. Okay, larger audience, because some people are too limited to the environment they have found themselves, and they are thereby not reaching out enough. So you must create inclusive environment, and then of course a fostering community. Then we cannot overemphasize this adaptability. You must be ready to embrace change without compromising core values. Okay, so as a leader, you must embrace change without compromising the core value. Well, I believe we are getting better. Now we're going to take this leadership training forward by looking at leadership dynamics. And we'll be talking about vision and strategy. We know that vision is a big picture of the future that you want to achieve. But we want to also add that strategy is what brings this vision into reality. So, for you to be able to succeed as a visionary leader, you must be strategic. You must be able to put actionable steps in place that will lead to the success of your vision. It is not enough to communicate the vision, but you also need to set strategies. Also, I want us to understand that vision requires 3C before you bring it to the level of strategy. And that is, you need to craft the vision, you need to cast the vision, and communicate the vision. And in the process of communicating the vision, you need to strategize to ensure that this vision experience progress. So, follow me back into the class as we expand this further and discuss leadership dynamics, vision, and strategy. Well, now let's talk about leadership dynamics with major focus on vision and strategy. Now, these two things are very important for every person that is striving, that has a leadership drive towards success. The first is vision. Now, we've talked about vision a lot, but we should still emphasize on it, especially as we're trying to relate it to strategy. A leader's vision is the foundation of effective ministry. So, effectiveness in any task requires vision. So, if you are a leader that is working towards driving a change, then it is important that you work with a vision. Okay, you must. So, what is vision? We've said the vision is a picture, a bigger picture of the future. We will still define it again, but we're just trying to build a foundation here. Now, strategy on the other side, the strategy is what translates vision into actionable steps. So we're saying it's not enough for a person to have vision, okay, without a strategy. So even if you have a very fantastic, a very big vision of what you want to become or what you want your organization to become, without a strategy, that vision will just remain dormant. Yes, so we have quite a lot of people who communicate vision, talk about vision. So sometimes when we're talking about, oh, the way the first stage in working towards your vision is to cast the vision. Okay, write the vision, cast the vision, communicate the vision. So many people are at that level of communicating the vision. Okay, but it's not enough to communicate a vision without showing a strategy of how you intend to achieve that vision. So that is where many people um, are struggling with the aspect of strategically bringing the vision into reality. So it involves a lot of strategy. So as a leader, if you are aiming for success and you want to become big in whatever you are doing, you must be vision driven. But apart from that, you must also be strategic in your approach towards what you are doing. So a minister of the gospel must be vision driven and must also be strategic towards ministry. Okay, so we know, yes, that this is a spiritual assignment, and it's our responsibility that is given. It's a responsibility given by God. But you see, God Himself has given you a vision on what you need to do and how you need to do it. But you need strategy to execute this vision. Most time, God is not going to just come and start writing strategies for you. So these are mental things, okay? These are mental exercise, mental exercises that you engage in to drive your vision towards success. So as a leader, you need to understand that strategy is key. Okay. Now, what's vision? Vision is a clear and compelling picture of the future that inspires action and guides decision making. It provides direction, motivates progress, and aligns effort towards a common purpose. So, for your vision, when you are crafting your vision, you craft, you cast, you communicate. Don't forget those 3C. Okay, you. So the 3C is, what do you do about your vision? Number one is your craft. You must write your vision down. Okay, Habakkuk chapter 2 says, write the vision, make it plain. Make it plain, craft it and cast it. All right, so the vision casting is when you begin to introduce that vision to people and you begin to talk about it. Okay, you begin to bring in that. It's not necessarily just communicating, but at that point you are casting, right? And then communicating it means that you must use every tool and everything, every approach available to you, every technology to make sure that your team member understand that vision and work with it. That is communicating it. So for your vision, it must provide a direction, it must motivate progress, and it must also align efforts towards a common purpose. So people that are your team members must see that you have common purpose. That is not a self-centered activity or whatever it is that you want to do, but that there's a common purpose and that there's progress in this. And when you talk about progress, motivates progress, please don't forget that when you bring up a team, you have a church, you have a team in a church. You must do everything you can to ensure that your people also, you work towards their progress in life. Okay, so it's not just about your personal progress alone. Their progress is vital. Okay, so it's very important. So it must be a common one. It motivates progress of the vision of the people involved, and so many. We have very big organizations today that we have people that started at the base, the people who worked hard towards building the organization also made progress in their personal lives. All right. So that's the vision. Okay. Then strategy. Strategy. Well, let's still talk about compelling vision before we move to strategy. So for vision, leaders can develop a compelling vision through these practical steps. So how do you ensure that your vision is compelling, that people will follow you? Number one is to seek clarity. Make it clear. You understand? You must understand the needs of people. So it's not a self-centered project. You must understand the needs of the people. Then you must define the destination. Okay? So if people are traveling on a journey and there's no destination, then it means they'll go anywhere. That's why they say if there's no particular direction on the road, everywhere looks like it. So you can just go anywhere. But that vision is not about just going anywhere. A vision must define what are the needs, it must be clear. You must understand needs, and that the vision is here to meet a need. Define the destination. This is where we are going. All right. Then communicate it effectively. Then invite people to participate. Invite participation. So if you're going to succeed in your vision, you must invite people to participate. So it's not going to be just you and you alone. And then stay flexible. This is very important. It's very important. You must stay flexible in your approach. Okay, staying flexible means that you're not rigid. You are not. It's not my own idea, my own thinking. It has to be the way I see it. No, people should be able to see. I mean, to be able to work with you, and of course, um, you know, move towards purpose. So seek clarity. In seeking clarity, of course, you want to reflect. You want to spend time in prayer. You want to consult with people. You want to consult with trusted advisors. You want to design your purpose. You want people who can design your purpose and goals to work with you. Then we have said, in understanding need, you must engage with people around your community, your team, to find out what are their challenges, aspirations, strengths, so that you can align that vision with the insights that you get from the needs or the challenges that have been communicated. All right. So we have said that you define your destination. So that means you should clearly articulate where you want to lead this organization. Where are we going? Where's the final bus stop? So you must use specific measurable goals. You understand? So you should use SMART goal. So SMART, SMART. So we should use that. You should use the SMART framework in communicating your vision. So it should be specific. It should be measurable. Okay. It should be achievable. Okay. It should be realistic, and then it should be time bound. Okay, so all these things are very important when you are looking at um, uh, defining destination. So communicate, share your vision consistently with passion. Use stories, use analogies, use real life examples, inspire people. Use things that people can relate with, and then inspire them. Invite participation. We've said that you should invite people, empower others to contribute to working with you, but you need to align with their own roles and talents, their own personal vision, so that you can foster what is called sense of ownership, okay, and a shared purpose. So whoever is working with you should also have a sense of ownership. I'm part of this, okay, I'm part of this system. All right. Then you should stay flexible, remain open, refining the vision and circumstances. All right. Well, as we have heard, that it is not enough to craft the vision, to cast the vision, and to communicate the vision. We need to also strategize. And so, as we go into explaining strategy, I need to prepare our minds as leaders, especially church leaders, to pay attention to this particular session, because this is where many of our leaders have shortcomings. Good. So let's move on. Strategy. So talking about strategy, we said a strategy is a structured plan of action that is designed. It's a structured plan of action designed to achieve specific long-term goals by aligning resources, efforts, and decision effectively. So your strategy bridges the gap between the vision and the implementation. It ensures that progress is sustainable, okay, and that vision is purpose driven. So strategy is more or less like putting things in perspective. for the purpose of achieving the vision, you must be able to bring, all that you want to do into a proper alignment. That's, you must strategize. You must you must look at where you are going. You must look at how you intend to get there. You must look at who you need. You must talk about the timing. You must talk about the resources. You must talk about, so in strategy, you bring all these things together to be able to achieve your goal. Okay, so there's what is called strategic planning. So strategy involves planning. Okay, so and if you are going to plan successfully, then you must have at the back of your mind that you are ready to achieve this goal. That this vision you are setting is what you want to achieve. Okay, so it's not so that, okay, like for instance, you can have a vision that you want to reach 2,000 people in 2 years with a particular kind of message. So let's say in your ministry, but you need to be intentional about how you intend to achieve this. Okay, so you don't just say we have 2,000 people, or we want to have 2,000 people in this church, and this is what we want to do to bring these 2,000 people. That's a strategy. So you must set achievable goal, assessing the progress, adjusting strategies. They are very key. Set the achievable goal. Look at where you are before you can talk about where you are going. So that's why record is very important. Record keeping is very important. I'm going to be doing from time to time. I'm going to be doing training on how to prepare church record, the standard church record. As a matter of fact, I have a template that communicates that. Now, record is very important because when you keep record, you are able to understand where you are coming from. You're able to see, before you begin to set goals, you're able to see where you are coming from. For instance, for maybe from 2022 to 2023, you were able to have 100 members. Your growth is 100 people. Maybe you grew from 20 to 120. So you added 100. Now, you look at all what you have done and your activities. Now, you cannot from there say, okay, by the end of 2023, you want to have 2,000 or you want to have 3,000. Now, it may seem as if, yes, by faith, you can do it. But by looking at your previous record, you need to strategize to know, is there anything outstanding that we can do to move from 100 to 2,000? So otherwise, why not from 100 to 300? And then if you now go beyond that, then you can say that you have gone beyond your goals. All right. So you must look at what you have. So leaders can employ specific tools and framework such as SWOT analysis. So SWOT analysis talks about your strength. You must look at your strength. You must look at your weaknesses. You can look at the opportunities and the threats. So before you begin to set your goals, what are your strengths? So that you can leverage on them. You can use the strength and then you can work on it to build it. Okay, this 20, that from 20 we moved to 100 was because we had this advantage. Maybe that strength was a very good auditorium, was a very nice choir, very nice music, coming from the church, and fantastic. So that's your strength. So you can still upgrade the auditorium to become better, upgrade the music to become more, inspiring and appealing. That should be your strength. Then you look at your weakness. So your weakness may be that Well, the type of messages that are coming from the altar is not very, it's not very encouraging. So that's a weakness. So you may look at, oh, what do we do? Look at people that can preach, add them to what you have, prepare outlines, talk about how these messages should be passed across. You work on your weaknesses. Then opportunities that are around you, you need to look at it. Are there opportunities that may come from everywhere that may make things better for you? You look at those opportunities around and you leverage on it. And then if there are threats around, maybe around your church, you need to address them, or you need to see how you can manage them. So SWOT analysis is good. So it will help you to evaluate your ministry current state. Then you can also use the SMART framework. That is, in setting out your goals, it has to be specific, it has to be measurable, it has to be achievable, it has to be relevant and time bound. Time from this time to this time is when we want to achieve this. We have said something about make it measurable. Making it measurable is like, okay, for instance, you talk about two different perspectives. Now, so somebody says, wow, we are going to grow this church and make it very big. And we are going to have plenty people coming. So plenty people is not measurable. It's plenty. But what if we have 300 additional or 200 additional to the 120 we have? That means you are making it measurable. And it has to be very specific. And it has to be reasonable, that is achievable, then relevant. So for setting clear goals and the balanced scorecard to align activities with the organization. So when you have a vision, it's very important that you think of planning strategically to achieve the vision and bring it to reality. All right. So we're going to stop here and we'll come back again. I just need to re-emphasize at this point that every strategic leader must adopt framework. We have quite a lot of frameworks that are used in strategic planning. We have highlighted two in this training, and I need you to start with these two, and then you can also develop further into other frameworks. The SWOT analysis is very, very important when you are setting out your goals and your strategy. The SWOT analysis talks about the strength, the weakness, the opportunity, and the threats. And we need to understand that. So what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are the opportunities around you? And what are the threats? Then you also need to adopt the SMART framework, which is the specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. Okay, so I'm just trying to re-emphasize this, so that we can pay attention to these things. They look like terminologies, but these are actually the things that help people in making progress. And I also need to say it helped me, because there are quite a lot of projects that I've been able to see practical progress because I brought these frameworks into use. Okay, I have attended quite a lot of advanced business training, leadership trainings. I've seen where these frameworks have been used, and we have been guided to make use of this framework for the success of our businesses, our projects, our ministry, and so on. So please pay attention to these frameworks and use them. Okay, use them for your progress. Let me start by just saying this. A quote from Walt Disney. It says, "The way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing." I want to encourage all leaders in the house, begin to do what you have started learning. It's very important. It's the key to progress. In fact, you get to understand everything that you are doing when you begin to do. All right? Things become clearer to you when you do. Some people have a lot of time sitting, waiting for when they are going to have a clearer picture of their vision before they start. But you see, these things don't start, it doesn't happen that way. You get to build upon it, you get to improve over time. Start the way you are. Okay? Start as raw as you are. Okay, that's my advice for you. So you don't have to become so perfect before you start. You don't have to become so professional. You don't have to be at the top of the ladder in knowledge, okay, before you get started. Just start as you are. Start as a leader that you are. Work on your vision. Even if it looks like that's the fruit of your vision is not forthcoming as much as you desire. I mean, it doesn't matter. Just move on. So far, so good. We have looked at vision. We have looked at strategy. We have looked at the features or the characteristics of a leader. We have said that you must be a leader, a visionary person. You must be a person that communicates. You must be a person that has empathy. Okay? And then you must be a visionary person. You must be someone that understands what he's doing, and you must be adaptable. You must be able to adapt to things. You must be able to adapt to changes. So we have looked at leadership in 21st century landscape, leadership landscape, or landscape of leadership in the 21st century. And we have said that things are changing. That if you are going to be a good leader or a great leader in this time, you need to adapt with the change. You need to know how to switch. You need to know how to adjust. Okay, you don't have to compromise your stand, but you need to know how to adjust to accommodate the changes, the things that are happening around. So as a leader, you have to be adaptable. Now, we are taking this knowledge further as we'll be discussing the practical leadership development. Practical leadership development. And here, we are going to be building on our knowledge from where we're coming. You know, we've talked about vision, we've talked about strategy, and then of course we have said that as a strategic leader, you have to be able to set your goals, and you have to be able to use the analysis that we have discussed. We have talked about the SWOT analysis. We have talked about the SMART framework. Okay, we have talked about the SWOT analysis, and we have talked about the SMART framework. So we'll be moving on as we'll be looking at it from a practical stand view. And the first thing that we want to talk about is building a sustaining effective team, just like you can see on the topic below, building and sustaining effective teams. So you as a leader that wants to succeed must understand that you cannot do this work alone as a leader. No leader works alone. No leader works alone. So you must learn to build a strong team as a leader, because that is the key to your success. So you must learn to raise this supportive team of people who will work with you. And you need to have understanding about what are the needs, the desires, the dreams, the passion, okay, of these people, okay? What do they want? Because before you bring them into your vision, you need to understand what they want. What are they looking at? What is their dream? What are their aspirations? So you don't just go and share your vision, tell people to forget everything about their lives, forget, and that is why some people don't last. Okay, they don't last. People don't last with them. They build people around them. Before they know what's happening, the people vanish. Because the people that are around you cannot see any benefits. Okay, they can't just see what will benefit them in your vision. What's going to be like a progress for them. Okay, so when you are building a supportive team, think about the progress of others. Okay, now no leader works alone, so you must building a strong team is essential for sustaining impactful ministry. So supportive roles within a team enables collaboration and shared success. You must encourage team members to operate in their area of strength. Okay, you must encourage people to operate. So that's what I said. Bring people, and that's what makes them last. If you know that somebody is passionate in the area of video editing, camera stuff, bring that person into that where that person, you see that person will be excited. We'll always be looking forward to come. Okay, but don't take like I'll see some people say just do whatever we give you to do. I mean that kind of leadership is not good, because you don't want to know what the person wants to do. So a person who is a professional cameraman, who can handle camera, who can do a lot of video stuff, recording and everything, you say go and be an usher. Go and stand and be ushering people. I mean, you know what you have done? You are killing that person's interest. So he comes, he's trying to endure, he's trying to do, but he's not happy. Now, if you take that person and put that person in the camera session or the media session, okay, that's the word I'm looking for. The media. You see this person coming all the time. So leaders can identify this strength by doing the following. So you as a leader, how do you identify people's strengths? Observation is very key. Okay, spend time with your team members, during their tasks, to notice their natural talent and their preferred work style. Observe. Look at them. Look at the person that is hanging around people. Every time is always hanging around media people. Every time. Brother, go to your department. Before you close your eyes again, you have seen him at media people. And you are like, why is this person always going? He or she wants to be in the media. That's all. That's what is happening. So you need to observe it. So go back to your team members in your church or wherever they are and observe their areas of interest. Watch them closely. Observe their areas of interest. The second thing that you need is feedback and dialogue. Okay? Have open conversation with people to understand what individuals enjoy and they feel most capable of doing. This is key. Please pay attention to discussing and dialoguing with people. I've often said this over and over. Leaders should call people and ask them, what is your area of interest? What's your area of passion? What would you like to do? Would you like to be in the prayer team? Oh, yes, I love prayer. Don't put a person who loves to be in prayer team among the music department. It's a misplacement of person's priority. Okay? It doesn't make people to last wherever you put them. So I have prayed. I've seen some leaders or some pastors say, I've prayed and I'm convinced that that's where you should be. Oh, it's fine, but what is that person convinced that he should do? You are not supposed to be, I'm sorry to say this, you are not supposed to be the one that will tell them what God said they should do. You need them to go and pray. to have, so that they can have personal conviction. Because if you tell them you think this is what God wants them to do, if they are not convinced, then you will not get cooperation. Okay, you will not get maximum cooperation as much as you desire. All right. Then you need to do, for your team members, for your people, you need to do what is called strength assessment. You need to use what is called strength assessment tool. DISK is the best strength assessment tool that you can use. It's called DISC. Okay, I'm going to break DISC down. So you should utilize a lot of tools. There's other one that is called GALLUP. 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 That one is a strength finder. So you can use it to find. So you can Google these things. GALLUP, then apostrophe S, then strength finder. GALLUP strength finder. You can use it. Is a tool that we use to find strength. And then there is DISC, DISK, personality assessment. We also use it to provide structured insight into person's capability, individual capability. So for DISC, I'm going to break them down. So there are 4 personality traits. Okay, DISC is explains 4 personality traits. I'll come back to encouragement, experimentation, and regular evaluation. But let me just break down DISC for us so that we will understand it clearly. So DISC personality assessment breaks down personality types into 4 traits. 4 traits. Dominance. Okay? So there are people who have what we call dominant character trait. When you find them among people, they dominate. They are the ones that dominate discussions. Okay? We have tried this a lot of times. We tell people to do a group discussion. And you always find that whoever has a dominant trait tends to be the one that controls that group discussion, dominates that group discussion. He's always been talking. That's a person with a dominant personality trait. That's the fact that the person has a dominant personality trait does not mean that the person can be a leader. It just means that the person can be a person that can initiate discussion, initiate action. All right. So these are type of people that focus on results and they are driven by challenges. All right. This kind of individual have this high dominant, assertive, decisive, and goal-oriented personality trait. So they often thrive in leadership roles. Okay, most persons that lead have dominant character trait, but it's just that it shouldn't be what you will use as a conclusion to pick a person as a leader, because a person may have a dominant trait but may not necessarily have leadership trait. But if a person combines that, it's excellent. But most of the time, dominant characters are great leaders. Then influence. Okay, so we have people who are influencers. they influence things around them. Okay, so these are people who prioritize relationships and communications. So a dominant person may not really be interested in relationship. He will just dominate everything, wants to be in charge, but not necessarily particular about relationship. But this person that has influence, the core strength area of this person is relationship and communication. And so this is the type of person that when it comes to trying to bring people together, trying to gather people to do things, put a person that you notice has this character of influence. If you put a person that has dominance, you may have a very serious issue for people to gather around. Okay, but if a dominance and sometimes some people combine the two. Okay, so you have people who combine. All right, so these influencers are they are they have high influence, over people. They are outgoing people. They are persuasive. They are enthusiastic, and they excel in roles that require networking and motivation. So you see, this kind of people gather people, bring people together, do things with people. They are very good in communication. All right. So they may not have dominance character. They may not be able to control or do things or put things together. But when it comes to relationship, so they may not be excellent leaders, but a leader can use them. You understand? So once you understand their key area, bring them into your team. That's a character. So you need to sit down and observe your people to see, does this person have a dominance character, or is this person an influencer? Another one is steadiness. So this kind of person values stability, collaboration. So those with high steadiness are dependable, they are patient, and they are supportive. They are often serving as backbone of a cohesive team. So when you are looking for somebody who is steady, who is not going to scatter everything and go away, who has this nature of bringing things together and they are dependable. They are patient. They are supportive. Okay, so you can see in a person, if a person has that character trait, you should know where to put that person. Then the last one, which is the conscientious person, are the people who emphasize on accuracy. They emphasize on quality. High conscientiousness individuals are analytical. They are detail oriented. They are systematic, making them ideal for a role of requiring precision and planning. So when you are looking for somebody who is going to head your planning team, to plan something, or to be part of your planning team, be looking for people who have this character trait. Okay, you may not have a dominant character. It may be the one that even when people are talking, will just keep quiet. Just quiet and is looking, is not saying anything again. But one word comes, you say, oh, this person is highly detailed. This person is highly analytical. And this person is systematic. Okay, so we have people like that. I seem to fall under that category also. I'm just high in analytics. I'm very systematic. I'm detailed in things. And so sometimes if I'm even discussing with people, it's like, okay, why don't you reason this thing from this perspective? So that is DISC. So still talking about what are the strengths that leaders, how a leader can identify the strengths. We have looked at observation, feedback, and dialogue, strength assessment too. We have seen DISC. Then encourage experimentation. Okay? So you need to allow team members to try different roles or tasks to uncover hidden potential. Let your team members, okay, somebody may not know that he's going to be a great writer until you give that person, so why don't you go and write some of these things? And then the person may suddenly discover that, wow, so I can write. Oh, as I started writing, inspiration kept on coming. Wow. And then the person, you have helped that person. I know a lot of people who have testified to what their pastors or their leaders have done to them in their lives, haven't helped them to discover who they are. They have helped them to discover their talents by giving them responsibilities. And then they eventually discover themselves. And that was it. Okay? Then, so you should encourage experimentation. Let them do things, try roles, do that. That will help them to uncover hidden potential. Then the last one here is the regular evaluation. So you should continuously assess roles and contributions to ensure alignment with strength and organizational roles. So you must keep on looking at how people are operating, what your team members are doing. Then does it align with the strengths and the organizational rules. So it's not that because people are trying to do things, oh, because this person likes media, then what happens? They begin to do whatever they like. No. This is what the church wants. This is what the church wants to achieve. Okay, so you must from time to time bring people back to the vision, bring them back to the goal. All right, bring them back to the goal, bring them back to the vision. So we started talking about building and sustaining effective teams. Okay, so that's where we started looking at. And then, of course, we've been able to discuss from that to raise a supportive team. That's what we're talking about. And so that's the point one. And under the point one, we have talked about using, we have talked about what the person or the leader should do, use observation, feedback, and all those stuff. And then the DISC. So we'll be going to the second one, which says seek conflict resolution and team cohesion. We have looked at the raising a supportive team as a leader. We've talked about building and sustaining effective teams as the A part of practical leadership development. Okay, so we are discussing practical leadership development, and we have looked at building and sustaining effective teams in ministry. This is the A part. And under the A part, we have said that you should raise supportive team as a leader. And these are the ways you can identify the strength of the people you are raising, the observation, the feedback and dialogue, the strength assessment tool, and we discuss DISC, encourage experimentation and regular evaluation. Okay. Then the DISC, we've explained and we broke down the 4 key traits of the DISC: the dominance, the influence, the steadiness, and of course the conscientiousness. Now, point 2 is to seek conflict resolution. Okay, so as you build team, one of the things that should be key to you is to address issue promptly with wisdom and the grace of God upon your life. So never allow any issue to go unaddressed. Very, very key. Don't take side with people. In fact, I encourage people that as a leader, don't let people see that you belong to a faction within the organization that you lead. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be you say a pastor belongs to our caucus. No, no, that is wrong. You are the leader. You shouldn't belong to a caucus. You are not. You are father over everybody. And so the things that makes it easy for you to be able to resolve conflict is when you don't belong to a faction or a caucus or a clique or a set of people. No. Don't let it. Even if you have people that are close to you, okay, let it be among your leadership team and not among the general people. Okay, just like Jesus had the inner circle. Okay, he has the outer circle, he has the inner circle, even among the 12. So he has 4 that are always with him. Every other person know that he has these 4, but these were among his leadership circle. Okay, so if you are going to ever have closeness with people, let them be within your leadership team and not within the general team. Okay, it's very important so that you will be able to have it easy to address issues promptly. Okay, so then the third one is the team cohesion. So allow team to work together to ensure that they foster trust, that trust is established among people. Then there's mutual respect. Mutual respect is very important. Okay, let people have respect for one another. Okay, so if this person is at the top, he should also respect the people that are at the bottom or below. And the people at the bottom should also respect the people at the top. So let there be mutual respect. Then there should be a shared sense of purpose. That is team cohesion. You are bringing your team together to work together. You must foster trust, foster mutual respect, and of course, a shared sense of purpose. Let everybody understand that they are here for the same purpose. Now let's move on by talking about mentorship and succession planning. So, as a leader that is trying to build your organization, it's important that you consider mentoring others, okay? Developing leaders that will become leaders. Having succession plan ahead of time. There are several organizations, we have even those that look big, that somehow people cannot see from the far. They cannot see or sense that there's a succession plan. That they feel there's no succession plan. Because part of the things that we look out for in succession plan is that whoever is going to undertake assignment, to succeed a leader is already in process, is already in the task. It's not a person that will just come from anywhere. No. Otherwise, that person is going to find it difficult. That person is already doing what you are doing. Is already following you and is already doing it while you are there. It means that sometimes you have to sit down and this person is doing it right in your presence, because that's part of mentoring. I remember when Riabonke was about to leave, when he was about to pass, he brought in Daniel Kolenda. And Daniel Kolenda was already operating with him in the ministry. In fact, as a matter of fact, while Riabonke was alive, Daniel Kolenda was already preaching in large crusades, working with the Christ for All Nation ministry, and he was already practically preaching. The last time Riabonke came to Nigeria when he was alive, it was Daniel Kolenda that preached. Riabonke just came, addressed the people quietly and all those things. He went back, because that is succession plan. But we have African factor that affects us in our succession planning. Oh, they will go and do something against that person. Oh, this and that. So we are not talking about announcing immediately. It took Riabonke time. In fact, it was when he was going to do the proper handover that he announced that Daniel Kolenda is now going to be head of that ministry. But what we are saying is that practically people were already doing things, and somehow these people were already in the assignment. So when you are doing your mentoring and succession planning, all these plans have to be in place. So leadership development includes mentoring emerging leaders and preparing for the future. A healthy organization is the one that thrives beyond its current leadership. Okay? So you need to develop your leadership if your plan is to grow. All right? So the key points that we want to look at, that we need to look at, is number one, mentoring leaders. You must invest time in developing your team, your leaders. You must spend time. I have a whole course on developing leaders around your vision. In case you're interested, I think I have yes, I have, not I think, I have a comprehensive audio teaching on developing leaders around your vision. And I believe some of us here attended that course and got the certificate. Okay, very soon we'll be coming out with another version of that. But we have audios on that this thing that you can easily request for just a small fee. All right. So the leaders around you, you need to develop them. Okay, you need to invest your time in them. As part of, it's not about requesting from them alone, it's about giving back to them. You must pay that time, you must pay that sacrifice. Then your succession planning involves identifying potential leaders and provide opportunity for growth. So what we are saying is that when you are doing succession planning is not the stage where you are saying, this is the person that will succeed me. That's not it. Sincerely, if you do that in an organization where there is high competition, something may happen to that person before the time will come. But what we are saying is identify. So if you are doing a succession plan, why not identify maybe like 5 people that are potential leaders that can take over? Then when the time comes, you pick the one you want to pick that the Spirit of God is guiding you to do. But you are training these people to succeed you. And succession planning means they are doing the things you are doing. They are doing it while you are there. They are doing it while you are observing. Okay? So we have several people who are the only ones doing everything in their ministry in terms of preaching, Bible studies, prayer meeting, Sunday to the weekday, and all those things. And the small tasks to other people. No. How do you grow leaders like that? You must begin to entrust some of these people to do things while you are there. How about building them to preach on Sunday, preaching them to do Bible study? You may start with Bible study, start with prayer meeting. They are doing it consistently. They are doing prayer meeting consistently. And gradually, you now come. I remember when I went to a new location some years back. Then in this particular church, I just started visiting that church because the pastor there happens to be a friend. And then I noticed that there's this particular guy that couldn't even say anything much. He couldn't, when they are doing Bible study, when he contributes, he's struggling. But gradually, I saw my friend building this person, telling him to read scripture, telling him to do this, telling him to explain things. And one day, the guy was now preaching, handling Bible studies. And he was doing it so fantastically well that I have to make comment and say, indeed, you have grown. I told him, I said, keep it up. And now he's a pastor. He's now preaching about. So what are we talking about? I mean, you want people to stand and do things, bring them into doing what you do. Okay? Bring them into it. You are not the only one that has fire. Let other people to operate the fire of God in their lives. It also helps you as a leader to rest. Because if you put everything on you, you'll probably be stressed. And that's why you see many leaders are stressed. Another point that we need to understand there is legacy. Leadership is about leaving a lasting impact. So a positive leadership legacy will include the following things: transforming lives. So it means you can inspire others to grow spiritually, professionally, personally, leaving them better equipped to fulfill their purpose. That's what you are doing. You are inspiring them to grow. You are inspiring them to grow spiritually. you are inspiring them to grow even in their profession. You are inspiring them personally. You are leaving them as persons that are better equipped, that whenever they want to talk about you, they remember anything about you, they'll say, wow, I had a wonderful encounter with this person. Then you build strong teams. That is creating a culture of collaboration and mutual support that continues to thrive. Then you should establish sustainable structure. This is very important. You should implement systems and practices that ensure long-term success and adaptability. Okay, there's a training structure that I have that is based on systems and structure, building systems and structure. Every leader needs to understand that if you are going to succeed and move higher, you need to establish structure. You need to establish a system. Your organization must run on a system. Okay, it must run on a system. Then you must empower your successors, mentoring and equipping future leaders who carry what? Who carry forward the future with excellence. Then impactful outreach. That's you should launch initiative that address community needs and demonstrate faith in action. These are very, very important. Okay, so now let's talk about personal development for leaders. Now, every leader needs to do what is called personal growth and development journey. We must undertake that. If you are going to be able to build people and build others, you start by building yourself. Okay, so that is how you operate as a leader. You start by building yourself before you can build others. So you need to undertake what is called your personal development journey or as a leader. So your personal growth is quite simple. It's not something that is so difficult. I'll just give some points here and probably some of the things that you are doing already, and I will just encourage that you do more. Okay, do more and don't relent. Don't stop. Don't stop doing it. Don't stop growing. Okay, you don't get to a point where you think you have reached the final destination. No, it doesn't work that way. You keep learning, you keep growing. So there are some things you can do to grow, or what you are doing you should improve. So now let's look at some points here. Okay. So a leader's personal growth directly influences their effectiveness. So emotional intelligence, self-awareness, and a commitment to learning are vital. So as a leader, you must build what is called emotional intelligence. In the corporate organization, there was a time when the only thing that people focus on was mental development. So if a person is going to be engaged as a manager, for instance, it will probably be because the person is mentally intelligent. But soon, people discovered that it was no longer a good criteria for choosing a leader, especially when you have organization that requires leadership, So emotional intelligence became a vital point. For instance, imagine a person that is so intelligent, so brilliant, so mentally wonderful, but get angry easily. Can just slap somebody because the way they talk in the office. So I've seen pastors slap people that and show anger. It's not, that pastor is not emotionally balanced. Okay, it's not that leader. You don't show people superiority by slapping them or beating them. No, you don't. So emotional intelligence talks about all these things. So even as a child of God, they may use this word emotional intelligence, but this is just a fruit of the spirit. If I may say, it's just the fruit of the spirit. I mean, if you possess the fruit of the spirit, then you have a balanced emotion. All right, self-awareness is very important. So you must be self-aware, and then a commitment. So there are key points that we like to look at here, and those are the three things: the emotional intelligence, the work-life balance, and continuous growth. So I've mentioned emotional intelligence, understanding how to manage your emotion enhances your relationship. So if you have a very bad emotional control, you will be driving people away from you. You're not going to have a good relationship with others. Then we have work-life balance, where you prioritize your self-care, family, and every other thing to avoid burnout. Okay, so there are people who work, 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 work. They're trying to build a great church. You are trying to build a church that will grow and grow fast, and you are working hard, but you are not taking time to prioritize your self-care. Then what will happen? You burn out, and you may not even be able to to continue in that work because of health challenges. So it's very, very important that you pay attention to your health, your family, work-life balance is very, very important. Be a good family man, not the one that abandons family because you want to grow your church or your team or whatever. Not the one that is hostile to his own people, his own family, and then is very kind to people outside. So that does not help that person to grow emotionally. Emotionally, we have problem. So you have leaders who have been able to successfully build a very great organization, but there's a problem emotionally, and everything has been battered. Okay, so that shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. Then continuous growth. So what do you do to grow continuously? You should attend training like this. The more you hear, the more you get better. Okay? So attend workshops, attend training like this. I have several leadership certificates. I mean, you can't have them too much. After all, you are not using them to look for a job. You are using them to upgrade your capacity. And the beauty of it is that when you want to present evidence of your leadership experience as per knowledge, these certificates work. That's where they work. They show evidence that yes, you have gone to several places, and you know read books. That's another thing you should do to grow continuously. Read books, read books about other authors, read books on leadership, read books on management. It's not out of place. I encourage church leaders generally, read books on leadership. Church leaders read book on management, administration. It's very important. Don't just put everything spiritual. Read spiritual books, read Bible, but read books that will develop your mind in terms of administration, relationship dynamics, management, so that you will know, you will see why people behave the way they behave. All right? You see them, you will see those things when you read. Um, Read book like Spiritual Leadership by J. Oswald Sander. You can also read book on 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John Maxwell. You can read many other John Maxwell books. Okay? Seek mentorship. That's another way to grow. On the area of mentorship, I like to say that sometimes the person you are looking towards to mentor you, you may not have access to that person. Maybe you have you have tried to meet this person, but for whatever reason, 1 year you are not able to meet. If you know that this is the person you admire, the way you key into that person mentoring is listen to that person's messages, buy that person's books, tapes, keep listening over and over. Listen to as many. Before you know what's happening, everything you need to know that you need that person to tell you physically, you get it. Except if you are now looking for connection. You want this person to introduce you. John Maxwell said he had to pay money to get mentorship from some people, and sometimes it just be once in a week. So I also want to encourage that in fact, if you are seeking mentorship, you can get to persons that are not too high in the hierarchy. Maybe someone that is not too high, but someone that you can reach and that is doing well. Okay? Person is doing well. You can still make do with that person rather than looking at that big name. Okay, so you want Bishop David Oyedepo or Michael Okonkwo or Baba Adeboye or Paul Enenche, or those people that are very busy. That's the person you want to mentor you, so you want to be going. I mean, what if you are not able to come across those people? So what will you do? You will stay. No, just get their books. Get as many. All right? Get as many. And you know one thing about relationship magnets? There's something that magnetizes you. When after you have finished reading too much about that person, the day you meet that person, there's a spirit that connects you. And that's what happened to me. There's a spirit that will connect you with that person. You will just see that what you are looking for, you found it easy. You found it easily. So you don't have to struggle. All right. So get more information about from that person and read. Okay. Read and read and read and listen and listen. I have loved listening to some people. I have chosen about 4 persons in my life that I listen to, read their books, listen to their tape, watch their video, have quite a lot and lot of their videos. So I have come to know a lot. John Maxwell is one of them. I've learned quite a lot and lot and lot and lot and lot of them. And I have quite a number of persons also, Bishop David Oyedepo and others, connecting spiritually. Pastor Iye Adeboye, connect. Okay? I connect. So, and I have opportunities because I connected. So you don't have to struggle. When the time for you to meet this person will come. I mean, the gift of a man makes room for him and bringeth him before king. So if you develop yourself into the kind of person that people will like to listen to, I mean, you will not struggle to get audience. No, you will not struggle. You will always have that audience. Okay? So emotional intelligence, work-life balance, continuous growth. So attend, seek mentorship, consider participating in church leadership focus seminar, like what we are doing, church leadership, global leadership summits, locally hosted ministry training workshop. Just stay updated and inspired. Now we're going to talk about actionable steps for leadership transformation. So going forward, you need to begin to grow into a great leader that is growing your organization. And, from all that we have done so far, the step forward is that you should be intentional. That's number 1. Be intentional. Be out to achieve these goals. Use the frameworks that we have given. Use the SWOT analysis. Use the SMART analysis. And then getting your team members, use DISC um, team assessment or character assessment, character trait assessment, and other assessment tools. You know, get specific, set specific goals, measurable goals. All right. So that's where those framework come in. The SMART framework, for instance. So be specific. You don't just go guessing and guessing and guessing. No, no, and no. Okay. Then reflection. You assess your current leadership practices. Look at what you are doing now, and then identify areas. If you don't assess yourself, then you don't know. From all that has been said during this training, it is time for you to now assess. Are we raising our team? Do we have proper communication? Do we have our system in place? Have we set systems in place for this organization? Are we really operating the way we should operate? Then the last thing I would like to say is encourage yourself. Remember that change begins with a single step. So whatever it is that you are going to change in your organization, take the first step. This training may be your first step. Applying whatever it is that you have learned to where you are. One funny thing that I always tell people is, when you attend trainings, whatever you get from that training becomes useful and applicable to your level, to move from that level higher. It's just an encouragement. Okay, so maybe I have someone attending this training who is in the level of 5,000 members in the church. Oh, fantastic. 5,000. But with all these things, by the time the person looks at the system and everything they are doing, it's okay. I picked one thing from a training. I picked two things from a training I attended. Now we are going to implement. And then the organization moves higher. Or maybe you are at the level of 500, and you work from all the knowledge you gather here and there, you push yourself higher. Or maybe you are at a level of 100 or 50, you push yourself higher. So you don't look down on any kind of knowledge area that you have. It's very important. We admire that. So set specific measurable goal, reflect, assess current leadership practice, identify areas for improvement. Encourage. Remember, change begins with a single step. All right. So this is where we are going to stop in this training. So I would just like to encourage us by closing with this. Luke chapter 12, verse 48. Luke chapter 12, verse 48 says that to whom much is given, much is required. To whom much is given, much is required. So whatever is given to you, you must take responsibility. You must work very hard to take responsibility, to go higher. And that is why you are attending this training. And I want to encourage you not to be discouraged. Whatever this challenge that you are passing through in ministry, in any task, just be encouraged. Better days are ahead. God bless you. Thank you for attending this training. I want to encourage us to subscribe to the YouTube channel, my YouTube channel, because I'll be dropping a lot of content. In fact, as a matter of fact, there are going to be some specific training in some key Bible college courses like hermeneutics, and some others that I'll be dropping into the YouTube channel. And some of them will be a comprehensive course. And so once you join that YouTube channel, you become part of that. You get these things free. I have quite a lot I have thousands of contents that I've created over time. And I've come to a point that the passion, what I'm driven to do, is to share. That is what I want to do. I used to share. Okay? Just share. And if God is touching your heart to support this ministry, why not? Can always support. We'll be sharing some details about how you can support. So whatever it is, you support. There's a lot that is put in place to make this to work. A lot of time, a lot of studio work, a lot of payment for editing, resources, and quite a lot of things are put into it. And all I just want to do is to make sure that this thing gets to those who need it so that it will change life. So it's not about how much I spend. I mean, even if I don't get anybody to do anything, I believe God is still faithful to make me to keep doing it and keep doing it. But as the Lord touches your heart, support. Thank you so much. God bless you. See you another time when we will bring in another training. So if you have come to this point, it means you have concluded the course with me. You are now a certified church leader, and you now have some of the information that you can use to drive change in your organization. God bless you, and bye.